Hello all my viewers. So in this video you are going to understand the compilation process for a C program, and I am going to take you from the basic to the advanced level. So get ready. So let us talk about why we need the compilation step or why the compilation is needed. If you take any of the .c file, consider this file. So basically when we write in the textual form or in the word form, but computer can only understand it in the zeros or the ones. So for converting this file to the object file or the file that computer can understand, we require the compilation step. So now let us talk about what are the various stages in the compilation. So as you can see, these four are the stages in the compilation step. So I will briefly tell each stage from the basic to the advanced level. So let's get so the stages are the pre-processing, compiling, assembling and linking. So before proceeding, I would like to tell you that the requirements before proceeding. So before proceeding, I would like to tell you that you require some software which needs to be installed on your system. So if you are using the Linux operating system, you will require the Visual Code Editor, or you can use any editor of your choice, and you will require the GCC compiler, and you will require the MinGW compiler. Since I am using the Ubuntu operating system here, so that's why I would require the MinGW compiler for running the file for the Windows operating system. And for doing that, I am using the Wine software. So this software is required only if you are using the Ubuntu operating system. So if you would like to know that how I can install the MinGW compiler and the Visual Studio Code editor in the Windows and the Linux, so just comment me. I would make a video on it. So let us now understand how it is done actually. So in the case of the pre-processing stage, mainly four things happens. The header files are included, the comments are removed, the macros are expanded, and the conditional compilation takes place. So let us now see how it is done. So for understanding that, I am taking one program which is a very simple hello world program, and in this program what I have done is I have defined some macros. So macro, you just understand it that it is nothing but this one is a macro, so it is nothing but which will get replaced in the first stage. Okay, so what I want to show here is, in the case of pre-processing stage, whenever you run this file, you will get some output, and in that output this string is replaced by this hello world, and the OS string gets replaced by the OS version that you are using. So for getting that OS version, what I have done is I have defined some macros. This is underscore win32 and win32, which will automatically gets checked if I am using the Windows, and if not, so that then it will gets replaced by this particular string. So if you like to know that how I can run this file and get the pre-processed output, so just click this view and go to the terminal, and you would be open the required terminal, and in the terminal you can run the GCC command here. So the command I am using here is GCC -e and then your file name, whatever file name you have specified, and then you have to redirect this output to the another file. Okay, so here I am redirecting it to the .i file extension. So now I want to show you what is a pre-processed output stage. Okay, as I have already mentioned, the comments gets removed. So as you can see, this is my main function here, and there is no comments. Okay, so comments are removed here, and you can see now that the string that I have already declared in the macro that gets replaced. Okay, so this is the string I am talking about. This gets replaced as as this as hello world. Okay, so this gets replaced. Also, since I am using the Ubuntu operating system here, so the OS string that I have used is replaced by the I am Linux, which is used here. Okay, so as you can see, the string gets replaced as I am in Linux. Okay, so second thing it will do is it will expand the macro that I have already shown you, and third is it will it will expand the header file. So that content you are seeing now, this is the content of the stdio.h header file. And fourth is it will do the pre-processing stage. So according to the conditions, whether I am using the Windows or the Linux, it will get replaced by the string, that is this string gets replaced if I am okay. So if I am using the Linux, this statement will get printed. If I am using the Windows, this statement will get printed. Okay, so that's it for this stage. So now I want to show you that if I am using the Windows compiler here, for so if I am generating the file for the Windows operating system, so what happens? So for generating the output file for the Windows, I am using the MinGW compiler here. So for generating the output, what I have done is I am using this command, which is x86 this command, and then I am simply using the -e option and generating the output file as the output underscore window.i. Okay, so let us now see what happens. So now I have opened this out windows.i file, and you can see now the macro gets replaced by I am in Windows. Okay, so I can show you that what is the output gets printed over there here. Okay, so for getting the output, I just remove the -e option and just run this file. Okay, so for getting the executable file, I just use this compiler here and just specify the file, and now I am just executing the final executable file. So as you can see, a file a.exe is created. So now I have run this file a.exe, and you can see now clearly that the message of I am in Windows gets printed. Okay, so let us now move step and let us now understand what happens in the case of compilation stage. So in the case of compilation stage, the syntax and the semantics error are checked, and the architecture dependent file, that is my assembly file, gets generated. So why I am saying this architecture dependent file, that I will show you. Okay, so let us now understand what is syntax and semantic error. So the syntax error is caused whenever whenever you are not using according to the grammar of the particular language. So here, since I am not using the semicolon here, and if I now compile this file, so you can see I got one error. So since I have changed my file, so I will do the pre-processing stage again so as to get the assembly file. So now I have done this step. Now for doing the compilation only, I have used the -s option here, and you can see now I am getting the error. So this is my error that I am getting, that because I have not included the semicolon here after this in text. Okay, so this is the syntax error. Now let us understand what is semantic error. Okay, so semantics error are those error which occur when there is a problem with the L value or the R value. So you can see now in the case of the int res plus 10 equals to x, here the Rx must be on the left hand side of the equal to operator. So the left hand side of the equal to operator must be a valid data type, and this is an expression, so it is not valid here, and that's why I am getting this error, which is L value required as a left side operand of the assignment. Okay, so this is what is a semantic error. So now I want to tell you that after the compilation step, the architecture dependent assembly file gets generated. Now as you can see, I am using the GCC compiler here. So after the compilation step, you can see the assembly file that I have got is for the x86 platform. So this is the file that's get generated after that command. So you can see the instruction that it has used here is for the x86 only. But if I use some other cross compiler, which is a compiler which will generate the output file for another architecture, let us consider the ARM here. So you can see now, so I have run this command. Now I am opening the file whatever is generated here. So you can see now the file that is generated. You can see that here it is clearly mentioned the architecture as ARM version 5T and the floating point unit as a soft version floating point unit. Okay, also you can see now the instruction that it is using is ARM only. You can search it. These are the instructions that will get generated for the ARM only. Okay, so the compilation part is done. Now comes the assembly stage. So in the assembly stage, the assembly file that is generated is converted to the architecture dependent relocatable object file. So architecture dependent, I have already told you that how it is architecture dependent. Now I want to show you that how it is relocatable object file. So for generating the relocatable object file, I am using the command. I am using this command and I am taking the assembly file as the input and generate the output. Okay. Now I have opened this file and you can see it is somewhat that I cannot read it. So for reading this file, since it is a object file, so I require some special tools. Okay. Also, since I have compiled this file for the ARM, so that's why I need to use the ARM tool here. So one such tool is the obj dump here, which will dump the output of that file, that assembly file to the output of the .o file. So you can see now I am getting this output and it is clearly mentioned here that this is my function that I have used. This is my main function. Okay, so after that you can see that these functions that I have used has some addresses. So these are the addresses of the functions. Okay, now in this file you can see that it has some address. Okay, so this address is not the final address and it will get changed into the final executable file. So now you can see I am using the this GCC cross compiler and generating the final executable file. Okay, so now final executable file is generated here and it is named as a.out. Okay, so now I have used the tool, that is I have used the command and dump the output of the final executable to the screen. As you can see now in the main function it is mentioned as the address of this. So now that you can see that previously the address is somewhat 00 here, but the address now gets changed. So that's why that file is called as the relocatable object file. Okay, so that's it for the assembly part. Now comes the linking phase. In the linking phase, what happens is that whatever external files or the functions you have included, that function object file will get on merged with the final executable file. And also whatever, so suppose you have used the printf function here, so the printf.o file is finally gets merged to the final executable file. Also the resolution of the symbols is done and the relocation of the sections. Okay, so all this is done, these two things, that is the relocation of the symbols and the relocation of the sections, this is done with the help of the linker script. So now I will show you that how it is done. So now onwards I am running the command whatever is mentioned in that Linux terminal and not in the Visual Code terminal. So whatever command now I am running, you can run the same command in the Visual Code Studio editor and it will work fine. So now what I have done is I have written the two statements, and in the first statement I have written the this is, and in the second one I have defined some global variables. Okay, so this is my global variable. These two global variables I have defined. One I have initialized and one I have not initialized, and one function uh, I have also written. Okay, and I have also created one file which is changing the this weak this non initialized one. Okay, so the non initialized variable what is there is changed over here. Okay, and now and it is getting printed over here, and also after calling this function, that is this external underscore func, the statement also get the variables also get printed over here. So now for running this file on my system, I have just dropped the cross compiler, that is ARM1, and just use the GCC compiler here so that I can run this file on my PC. So also I have included the prototype here. Okay, so now since I am merging the two files, so that's why I have used the two files with the GCC compiler here, and you can see the final executable is gets generated, and now I am running it. Okay, so you can see now, you can see that before calling this function, the global variable weak is 258 and strong is 23. So since I have combined both the files, and in the another file I have defined the weak as the value as 258. Okay, and in the first file I have not initialized it, so that's why. So before proceeding that, I would like to tell you that what is the symbol and how I can see the symbol table. So symbol is basically nothing but all the global variables that you have used in your program and all the function names. These are called as the symbols. So for getting the symbol what you have used, you can use this command, which is obj-ta.out, and as you can see there is external underscore func, which is my function name. Okay, and the global variable weak, that is also there, and the global var strong, which is also there, and also the my func that I have used here. So the G here signifies that it is a global symbol, and this is the section in which it is residing. So the first thing it happened here is the symbol resolution, that is all the global variables that you have used will gets on resolved. Okay, so you can see now that I have used the two global variable here. Okay, so one is the initialized one and one is the uninitialized one. Now if I try to merge those two files, the uninitialized ones that will get replaced by the value that is here. Okay, since there are three rules whenever we are using the global variables merging. Okay, so the first one is here we have the weak and the strong symbol here. So weak symbol are those variables which are not initialized. So between the weak symbol and the strong symbol, the strong symbol will get replaced. Okay, so that's why, since in the first file I have not initialized the first variable, and in the second file I have initialized it. So you can see in the output I am getting the weak as 258. Okay, so you can see this. Okay, before calling this I am getting the 258 as, so that's why it is due to this. Also if I try to modify the strong variable here, okay, so you can see now if I try to change this variable here in the external file.c, I will get one error. So now I have initialized this. Now you can see what error I have. So you can see I am getting the error as multiple definition of the global var strong. It is because between the two strong symbols it is not possible here. Okay, so because this variable global var underscore strong is initialized over here and also over here, so between the two strong symbols it is not it is an error here. Okay, so now I am removing this, and also between the two weak symbol anyone can get selected. So now you can see that I have used the global variable here, which is global var week new, and I have not initialized in this file, neither in this file. Now if I try to change the value in this file, and if I try to again print it after changing here, so you can see now that I am getting the latest value. Okay, so initially it is 0, but after calling this function, this week new gets changed to the new value. Okay, this is changed over here. So this is the this is the symbol resolution here. Now second is the relocation of the symbols. So you can see now that whatever sections we have, these are all the sections here. Okay, so these are all the sections here, and for each section we have corresponding address. So these are the address. So this one also I will get the in the case of the linking stage only. Now for doing that we require one linker script. So for generating the linker script I am using this command here. Okay, so this is a command that I am using currently. You can use this command, and whatever the output it will generate, it will then redirect it to this out.ld file. And remember, the linker script must be ended with the .ld file. So this is the command that I have run now. Now I want to show you that what is the in the ld file. So you can see it is clearly mentioned here, since I have generated it for the x86 PC. So you can see now that it has supported these many formats. Also you can see it is clearly mentioned that output architecture is i386x8664. that is my current PC Intel architecture. Okay, also you whatever sections you can see now, so this section, as you can see now, this section, this all it will be generated by the help of the linker script. So now I have opened the linker script here. So now you can see we have the sections option here, and in the sections we can specify whatever sections we want in our final executable file. Okay, so basically this file is used to generate that, and we specify the entry point here. So in the case of x86, that where your program should start. So you can see it is specified as _start. For other architecture like ARM, so it is some other thing. It is nothing but the so it is nothing but the reset handler. Okay, so for comparing between the two files, I have used the same command but using the GCC cross compiler here. So you can see now in the case of the ARM, you can see output architecture is the ARM. Okay, and these many sections are there, similar to the case of the x86 only. Okay, also you want to know that whatever different partitions we have in the case of the C file, like .bss partition and corridor sections, that is .bss.data and .text. These also gets addresses in this particular file. You can see now BSS and align BSS and is and address is over here, and also the BSS start address is over here. So this section, all the things will get done over this linker script. So thank you, that's it for today. So if you like, just comment me, and if you want to ask something, just comment me also.